Welcome back to Flat Irons Tuning. We're here in the shop with a Cosworth manifold. Ever since Roger Clark worked with Cosworth to make their Cosworth manifolds available again, we've gotten some questions about them, and now that basically another batch has become available, we're getting a new slew of questions. So we wanted to take one out of the box, show you everything that comes with these manifolds now, and talk about what the benefits of this manifold are, where you might want one, where you might not need one, that sort of thing. Before we dive into all of that, I just want to say, thanks for your support as always. If you want to help support this channel and the content that we make, please do like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out a ton. We've got some merch now, so check that out. And the very best way to support this channel to help us keep coming back and make this content for you is to head over to flatironstuning.com. If we've got anything there that you might need, even something like this Cosworth manifold, that support at flatironstuning.com is what helps us keep the lights on, keep coming back and making this content for you. So check out flatironstuning.com, and without further ado, let's dive into this Cosworth manifold. So the first question that we got when these first came back was, how are these available again? And the answer is because Clark Motorsports has a really good relationship with Cosworth, and they were able to negotiate a way to get access to the Cosworth's design and mold for their manifold to make them available again. So this is now how they come. So this is the Cosworth manifold that comes with their Cosworth vacuum block and some vacuum fittings, and a little hardware, some caps, and this O-ring. So one of the clever designs about this Cosworth manifold is this vacuum block, which sits here at the top of the manifold. You've got all of your threaded fittings on the back here. The reason that it's separate from the manifold is because you can put it on either direction. What that means is that you can mount this manifold either conventionally, so that the throttle body is pointed to the back of the engine, or the back of the engine bay, or reversed, so that the throttle body would be pointed to the front of the engine. Just depends on what you need for your packaging, so this one manifold can go either way. And then with your vacuum block, you just put it on wherever you need it to run the vacuum lines as you need to do. Now, the O-ring that is included, that goes on the bottom here, basically to create the seal. Make sure you use some, kind of like silicone grease or something like that to make sure that the O-ring pops in and is going to give you a good seal when you do the final install on your manifold. And again, this is a black vacuum block now, not the original Cosworth manifolds were a blue block. Now it is a black one. Speaking of colors, there is going to be a black and red Cosworth manifold coming out here shortly. So check out Flat Irons Tuning for that. If you want to get something that's kind of crinkle-coated red for your STI, that sort of thing, it's going to look pretty cool. All right, now let's dive into what the benefits of this manifold are, where you might need it, where it might not be a benefit for you. The biggest benefit to this, other than the fact you can use it as a standard or reverse configuration, is the volume of the manifold. You can see, looking at the center here, the center section of this manifold is just much bigger than the stock Super manifold. The bottom is reasonably large as well. So I would say the minimum requirements to even start considering this would be, you're running a bigger turbo, probably aftermarket fuel rails just to make sure that you've got room for this big center section. Really probably to a front-mounted intercooler. I think if you're running a top-mounted intercooler, it's going to make it a bit challenging to get this to fit just to begin with, but really like the benefits of this manifold, it's really not going to kick in the power range that you could achieve with most top-mounted intercoolers. That power range, I would say, probably is about 500 to 550 horsepower if you have an engine, or if you have an engine that's revving above 7,500 RPMs. Basically, high power, high RPM, that's where you would need the larger volume of this intake manifold and start to see benefits for it. It's probably going to show you the most benefits in the mid to upper RPM range, say 5,000 RPMs and above. It's really not going to help, I wouldn't expect it to help out below about 4,500 RPMs, maybe even 5,000 RPMs. That's where the extra volume, it could slow down basically the velocity of the air getting into the engine. So it might actually hurt you in those lower RPMs rather than help you. And again, camshafts. I'd say probably an aftermarket camshaft would be something where if you don't have something like at least a stage 1 or stage 2 camshaft to basically improve your efficiency in that upper RPM range, and then a turbo to go along with those cams and so on and so forth, the benefits of this large volume manifold are going to be less, if any. So those are really where you would benefit from this manifold. But of course, it does look pretty darn cool too. So I mean, I totally get that, especially like I'm picturing crinkle red powder coat one of these in an STI engine bay, it's going to look pretty sharp. I definitely agree with that. And so sometimes aesthetics are as good a reason as anything to put in the manifold, but really it's for the high RPM, high power applications where you really start to get the benefits of that large volume plenum. And again, this is from Cosworth's original design. This is one of the first aftermarket manifolds that came out for Subarus. It's a very well-known, very tried and tested manifold, again, for those higher RPM, high power applications. So that's it. This is what comes in the box. This is the current iteration of the Cosworth manifold, all made possible by Roger Clark Motorsports. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your support as always. Hopefully this was a helpful video for you. And until next time, stay tuned to Flatirons Tuning.